Well, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mental Spot. Good evening. Good evening. So, I am multitasking here. I think I say this every week that I'm multitasking. So, let me know that you are here with a comment. I am on Facebook and I'm actually going to be on Instagram this evening as well. So, hello, Instagram. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Instagram. Hey, Facebook, welcome to the Mental Spot, where men talk about life, love, and leaving the toilet seat up. So let's see, I am attempting again. I hope that that didn't just knock something out the place. Anyway, so it's so funny because these are actually on YouTube. So people who are watching on YouTube, please, you'll get to learn me and how I operate and how I function. So as a multitasker here, I'm asking for some grace. So let me know that you are here. I am again following people on Instagram and on Facebook. So let's see, I see some people joining. Hello. Well, hello, my love. How are you? Haven't seen you in such a long time. Yes, I'm waving. It tells me to wave. As you're joining on Facebook, please, please, please invite your followers. We got a good show tonight. I'm going to tell you what we are going to talk about and how it got to be. Can I just let you know that tonight I will be solo dolo. So even though we are in the mental spot where men talk about life, love, and leaving the toilet seat up, just letting you know that tonight Coach will be solo. But that's okay because I've talked to enough men to be able to talk about the mental spot. So I am fully qualified to do this, okay? So I am actually sharing this to a couple of pages here. And if you don't mind, will you please share with your friends and your Facebook followers and Instagram? Tell them, get on. They need to look and listen because we are live now inside the mental spot. All right, so I think that I have everything going here. I am multitasking. I think I said that already. All right. So as you're here and you're joining on Facebook, please let me know that you're here, that you can hear me. So I want to make sure that we are live and you hear me. Hello. Hey y'all. Like I see y'all here. All right. So I wanted to make sure that I am very conscious of my time because sometimes coach can get a little and I'm in a teaching mode tonight. So be prepared to learn because we are going to talk a little bit about the man cave, and this is from my perspective. And I'm going to share 3 reasons why men are challenged with showing up in relationships. So some really good stuff here. Again, all based off of the research and the professional training that I've had, the experience I've had with clients, and just some personal experience. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here shortly, just giving a few more people time to join on. Hello, Instagram. How are you? Now, I'll let you know because I'm live on Instagram. You can't see my fancy screen as I'm here on Facebook. So I'll be putting some notes and things up there. So just make sure you have your little pen and paper next to you, or follow me on Facebook and you can watch it live and see all of the notes that I'm putting in there. And again, this will also be available on YouTube. So if you haven't seen some of the previous episodes of The Mental Spot, they've been really, really good. Go to YouTube and go to my channel, Coach Shaquan, or search on the hashtag mental spot, and you can see the past episodes. Some really, really good stuff out there. Okay. All right. So Facebook, I see you out here. And Lord, please don't let me knock something down to where my screen and stuff get ready to fall, because that's really typical of something that I would do. All right. So for those who are just joining me and may not be familiar with me, my name is Coach Shaquan. Hey, how y'all doing? I am a certified relationship coach and a transformational speaker and owner of PRT Coaching Services. We are a life and relationship expert firm focused on self-awareness, strategy, and mindset tools to help men and women be leaders in the lives that they choose to live. Now, what does that mean, and what does that have to do with relationships when we talk about intimate relationships? Well, life is all about relationships, and without them, you wouldn't have a mirror to see yourself. And so sometimes we don't really take into account how much of ourselves we can see, or how much of the relationship and how the relationships are going, whether it be professional or personal, by just simply taking a look at ourselves. And so I do a lot of primarily what I teach on and what I speak on is more self-awareness strategies and really helping people to dig down into the core to see themselves and to see what you can do in order to create better relationships. So tonight we are talking about the man cave. And again, typically I would have a guest on in episode 5. We had to do some readjustments at the last minute, so my guest will be with me either next week or the following week. We'll reschedule soon. But again, Coach is always ready. So if you call me tonight and tell me you need me to speak tomorrow, I'm ready. Okay. If you tell me 5 minutes and it's like, okay, you need to get on, I'm always ready. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Again, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the man cave. Let me just explain that in the mental spot. So again, it was this idea for those that haven't heard. It was an idea that I came up with about 3 or 4 years ago, and really again wanted to have conversation with men on the topics of life and relationship and love. And it's like men don't want to talk. I'm like, I don't know what kind of men you've been running into. The men I run into, they talk. Okay, and so I wanted to create a space for men to be able to talk freely and openly about specific topics that were near and dear to their heart, and have the opportunity to share their perspective. So we've done that, and we've created this space. And so yeah, let's get into it. I'm checking here on Instagram and I see some people. Let's see, Midwest PWG. Hey, how you doing? See my girl LB, the wife coach. I follow her on Instagram. She is like super fly, okay, and really dishes awesome good stuff. I have to go back and catch the replay of your Wives Wednesday Wisdom and your live show, because I know you broke it down. Check your BS. That's right. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. All right, you guys. So inside tonight's episode, we are going to talk about again, the man cave. And I want to break this down to you so that you can truly understand when I talk about the man cave, what exactly are we talking about? And again, what makes me qualified to talk about the man cave, and I'm a woman, right? So again, in working with men, I've come to realize that they really do want to be in relationships. Some men, right? If they have a desire, and you'll know if you're in a relationship, ladies, if you're in a relationship with a man, you'll know if he truly wants to be there. It's right. This that piece of intuition and gut that we really have, and it's something that you really don't have to force into happening. And so when you're inside the man cave, I've broken it down in that some acronyms here, right? The C is going to stand for communication. So when men really go into their man cave, into their space of wanting to be free, there is a way that we can communicate with them when they're in this space, right? And let's just think hypothetically, right? So physically being in a man cave or just mentally being in a man cave, right? Communication. How are you communicating with him? And men, we're going to turn this back on for you from a self-awareness perspective. How are you communicating with yourself? What are the things that you're telling yourself? Are you putting too much pressure on yourself to be something that she does not require of you, or that the world has put into your mental space, making some expectations, and it's really not what you need to do or what you have to do? And so women, when we are having this conversation with men and wanting to communicate with them, we must understand that it requires us to not be so anxious to get him to understand, not be so anxious to want him to believe you. It's really about having simple conversation and speaking from a place of truth and a place of perspective, and sharing how you feel instead of telling him what he said and what he did. So again, making sure that you're really focused on the way that you're communicating, and making sure that it is, like I say, the sandwich effect, right? Being very soft on one side, and then putting your needs and your wants in the middle, and then putting another piece of soft side on the backside, right? Creating a way that you can have a conversation with him and communicate with him. So when he's in that place of peace and serenity, right? And I don't know if men use the word serenity or not, I'm using it, that they really can begin to understand you, okay? And so for the A in Man Cave, we're going to talk about awareness, action, and appreciation. there's a piece of awareness that we as women must understand about men, and that they don't think like we do. They don't have the same type of oomph that we have. Okay, let's just be clear. So sometimes we don't take into consideration that their wheels aren't turning as quick as ours are, right? And so, again, going back to that place of communication, we must be mindful of how we're communicating with them and making sure that it is in a way that they are being heard, right? And that they are being respected for how they feel and what they think. And part of the awareness piece for men is understanding that there are she's a woman, right? So she doesn't think like a man. And no offense to people who buy into that concept. I don't know that women were designed and purposed to think like a man. And so what you can do, however, is think as if, how do I want this man to respect me? Right? How do I want this woman to respect me? So being in an awareness space of how do I want to show up and how do I want to represent myself in this relationship is more important than wanting to think like someone of the opposite sex. Okay. So I have a question here. Is this recording? Yes, absolutely. This is a recording. So you can catch it again here in this Instagram live. It'll be for 24 hours, or you can go to Facebook, and again, it'll be on YouTube within the next 24 hours as well. Okay. Thanks for asking. All right. And so there's action that's happening, right? So if you're thinking about being in the space of the man cave, and the man, they want action, right? They want something to happen. Now, men also have the responsibility of putting action into it as well. You can't just go into the man cave and go into the sunken place, right? And expect for a woman to read your mind and not be in a place of understanding you when you're not communicating your needs and you're not communicating your wants. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about why that doesn't happen when they're in the man cave here shortly. And also want to just talk about this other A, which is appreciation. We have to learn as women how to appreciate men for them showing up and for what they do. Now, I've heard this before, right? I've worked with couples before, and they're like, I don't feel like I should have to tell him that I appreciate him for everything he does. Well, you don't. Okay. You really don't. It's a choice to do that. And so I'm going to bring this in also into our V. So our V is going to be validation, right? Okay, so you also feel like you don't have to tell him all the time that you appreciate him, and you also don't feel like you have to validate him. Well, let's just think about it. As women, we raise men, right? So we have little boys who we validated for so very long, and we've shown them appreciation, and we've told them how much we appreciate them. And then so they grow up to be men who still have a level of expectation to receive that. Now, no, you're not his mom, you're his wife, you're his girlfriend, you're his significant other, and no, you should not play that role of his mother. However, there is some consideration that needs to be taken in thinking that there is still a level, just like you validated him as a little boy, or as you validated your son as a woman, there is a piece of you that gives that same validation, because now he is a man doing what he has a choice to do. He doesn't have to be there. He doesn't have to stand in that place of being your husband or your boyfriend and be committed to the relationship. If he does, then there is some validation and some appreciation that's required. Now, okay, men, talking about you too in this space, right? There is a piece that you must show appreciation for her, for the things she does. So as women, when we are so involved in being wives and being mothers and being this to everybody and being the helper, healer, fixer, yeah, I like to know that you appreciate what I'm doing. Don't expect that dinner should be ready or that your clothes should be ironed. And again, I may be talking some older century roles that women have played. I know in my household, I do the cooking and I do the laundry and everything. And I'm grateful that my husband does show me appreciation for those things. And he does validate me and let me know that, I'm doing a good job or something like that. And that's a booster, right? I think that we all as human beings have a piece of validation that we want and that we desire. And so really keeping in mind that that's important when you're talking about this man cave, right, in the mental space of it. So if we go down to the last one is going to be E. It's going to be energy. Now, if you've ever heard me speak, if you've ever been to one of my events, this is something that I'm big on. It's the foundation of what I teach on. And it's the one thing that I usually tell people to take away from anything that I say. Now, this is probably the first time in Coach Shaquan history that I'm going to be sharing the energy piece outside of a workshop or a private event. So in terms of self-awareness, energy is everything you hear, taste, touch, smell, see. And those are based off of your five senses. Those five senses actually give you a a perception of what you like and dislike about people, places, and things. And so when you think about your energy, there's two types of energy. One is called anabolic, and that's really the one that's more healing and is constructive, and it makes you feel good inside and makes you want to do more and be your best. And then the other side is called catabolic. It's very draining, it's very destructive, and it's fear-based. And so when you're thinking about being in this place of the man cave and being in a place of really understanding the energy piece, it's so valuable in the sense of getting of getting clear on, not he has a bad attitude or not she has a bad attitude. There's an energy that's happening here. And if you notice that the energy is off, then you can really step into a place of being aware and saying, hey, I don't like the way the energy is happening in our relationship right now or in our marriage right now. And so while we're in this man cave space, this mental space, let's talk about it and let's find out what's happening, because we really want the energy to be on more of the anabolic side, the more constructive, the more building side. Otherwise, you're not going to have a really good connection, and your communication is going to be off, and your intimacy is going to be off. And now we got challenges that's happening in the relationship. All right. So I am reading some feedback here on my Facebook page, and says that the connection is bad, and I don't know why. So let's hope that we can get it together here with my system and everything. I see that we are doing very well over here on Instagram. So thank you all for joining. Again, we are inside the mental spot where men talk about life, love, and leaving the toilet seat up. This week I am solo. All right. So I am talking about the man cave, and I just broke that down in the acronym for man cave, men, and what they think and how women can function inside the man cave. And now let me get to the good stuff, right? Some stuff that that I really think is going to be valuable for you all tonight. So when we begin to talk about men, and this is again the experience that I've had with working with men and some of the professional training I've had, why are men so challenged with showing up in relationships? Really good question, right? So let's first be clear on what we talk about showing up. So it's a word that people toss around there, and they kind of say, you're not showing up or showing it. Okay, so let's be clear. Showing up means being present, right? And I always say that being there is not the same thing as being present. So when you say you're showing up, you're fully aware and you're attentive to your energy, your thought process, and really wanting to make sure that you are presenting yourself to your spouse or to your partner or in any type of relationship, personal or professional, as your authentic self. And sometimes that can be challenging because there's some things that are associated. Being authentic comes with liability. And so for men, sometimes they have a challenge with showing up for three reasons. Okay. Reason number one, there's a fear of judgment. Okay. A fear of judgment, a fear of rejection, and a fear of them being their authentic selves. Because what does that mean? If we are having challenges now in the relationship, now this is coming from the mind of a man, right? If there are challenges now in our relationship or in our marriage, if I really show up authentically, if I really say what I want to say, if I really share my full self with her, I'll get rejected. She won't understand. She won't believe me. I'll be attacked. And so what happens is they don't, sometimes, right? This is not all men. Sometimes men don't know how to show up authentically because they don't know what's going to happen. What's that going to mean? Because you got to remember, when we started the relationship, right? When men and women start, we don't bring our real selves to the table. Part of us, we don't know who that is. And part of us is, I got to show you my best self. And so me being authentic doesn't always mean I'm being my best self. That's a misconception sometimes, right? Being authentic, that means you're real. Yeah. So real means coming with flaws, coming with habits, coming with things that may not be something that the other person can deal with. So sometimes they don't want to show up that way because you may reject them, ladies, right? And sometimes we do. And so when we begin to talk about this whole concept of them showing up, there is a formula that I like to share. It says thoughts create feelings, feelings create emotions, and emotions create actions. Okay, let me say that again. Thoughts create feelings, feelings create emotions, and emotions create actions. And so basically, if you think it, then your action is going to be related to that. And so for men, if they have a fear of judgment, their thought process is that I'm fearing that she's going to judge me, then their actions, or I'm sorry, then their feelings, they'll show up as defeated, right? And ladies, have you ever seen a defeated man, right? Been in a relationship with a defeated man? Uh, it happens, right? And there's nothing that is against them. It just truly happens. And so if they feel like they're being judged and they show up in this place of being defeated, then their actions are really going to be, I mean, lackluster, if you will, very lethargic in their actions, kind of apathy, if you will. And so we must be very mindful that if they don't show up, right, if they feel that you're going to judge them for being authentic, if they feel that you're going to judge them for speaking their mind, then this is potentially how they'll show up in a place of feeling defeated. Um, Another reason number two, right? So the first one was they're unable to show up due to fear of rejection and fear um, of judgment. So the second one is men who want to show up and feel like they can't because there's a lack of respect. Okay, a lack of respect, or again, going to this consistent rejection that they feel when they do show up. Uh, we talked about respect versus love. Did you guys see episode 1 of the Mental Spot? If you did not, please go to YouTube. It's out there. We talked about respect versus love and do men and women view it differently. Had a really good lesson from a dear friend of mine, Pastor Dre, and he really broke it down. And so when we talk about having a lack of respect, when men feel a lack of respect, they will become defensive, right? So their thought process is, I'm not being respected. There is no respect. The defensiveness comes out. It comes out in their communication. It comes out in their body language. It comes out in just the way that they respond to you in general. And so not showing up says, hey, if I do show up, I'm going to have to defend myself, and I'm tired of defending myself. It always ends in an argument. And so they back off, they step back, and then they don't show up. They'll revert back to their man cave, right? A place where they feel more comfortable, where they feel more accepted, and they won't be available to you. And of course, then that's going to cause a problem, because if you're not available to me as a woman, then I'm either going to pick, right? Ask a lot of questions and pick, and I want to know why, or I'm going to back off and go do my own thing. And then what happens is we still got some disconnection going on in the relationship. Let's also talk about having the fear of rejection. Men who have a fear of rejection typically become indecisive. They don't know what to do, because the last time they came to you with an idea, or the last time they came to you wanting to be authentic and expressing themselves, you rejected them. So now they're indecisive. They don't know what to say or what to do or how to feel, because they are afraid that the rejection is going to come up. You're going to think they're weak. You're going to think they're incapable of leading. And so they shell back. They don't want to show up, and they become indecisive in what they want to do. You know, I've worked with couples before when it's like, okay, so men have this fear of rejection, and they don't call it a fear of rejection. They don't know it's rejection, right? They just know that there's a problem or there's an issue. And even as women, they don't know what's happening. So they're indecisive. What do you want to do next, right? Do you want to go get help? Do you want to go seek professional help? Well, I don't know, because if I say yes, then you're going to think I'm weak. And if we do go and I do tell my truth and I do show up authentically, then you may reject me and leave me. And so men choose to stay down in their man cave, right? And they choose not to show up authentically and really have that type of conversation that needs to be had about how they truly feel. Okay. So is this making sense? Please let me know. I see some people out here. I see my peeps out here. Hey, IG is popping. Hey, y'all. And I see some friends and everything over here on Facebook. So make sure you are sharing this. Again, this is the Mental Spot, where men talk about life, love, and leaving the toilet seat up. Episode number 5, Coach's Solo Dolo. That's okay, because I am sharing some tips and tools that can help us to begin open that mindset and better connect in your relationship. Okay. All right. So I see some feedback on here. Hey, Keisha, I see you said that was good. Okay. How you doing? All right. So we are talking again. Why are men so challenged with showing up in relationships? So we talked about their fear of judgment and not wanting to show up authentically. I've talked about them not wanting to show up because they feel like there's no respect and that consistent rejection. And so the third thing is that men are emotionally empty. Okay, how they gonna show up? They don't have nothing to bring to the table. Okay, and so they're blocked from showing up very authentically, again, for the fear of not being fully accepted and being unconditionally loved. That's big, right? And that was a mouthful. Okay, so they're emotionally empty. Now, what does this mean? Okay, so again, women and those of us who are mothers and we are have boys, what happens is that as boys we tell boys, they can't cry, don't cry, shake it off. Okay, so if there's another man talking to a little boy, they tell him shake it off, nothing wrong with you. Men are not, boys are not supposed to cry. And then so women, we have this very more, some women, right, have more of a nurturing spirit to them, to us. So we are very nurturing to our little boys, and so they grow up to be confused in how they're going to express their emotions, because if I express my emotions to this woman, which I'm used to expressing my as a little boy, right, because there's still a little boy inside of them, if I express my emotions to this woman, will she reject me? Right? Will she accept me? Will there be a lack of respect for me expressing myself? And then they revert to this place of being emotionally unable to express themselves, because somewhere in their BS, right? BS, check your BS. BS standing for belief system. Somewhere in their belief system tells them that as a man, I'm not supposed to emotionally express myself. And so there's a big ball of confusion that goes on when they want to show up. The fear, like what will happen if I emotionally express myself? Or furthermore, I don't even know what that means. I don't know how to express myself. And so we talk about having a lack of acceptance. When men feel that there is a lack of accepting them for who they are and for how they show up, the intimidation kicks in. And being intimidated then makes them not want to show up again, because they'll be rejected, they'll be judged. And so they shy away from not expressing themselves for fear of being attacked by what you'll say for them. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. IG. That was my mama calling. Okay, so again, when we begin to talk about, are we live here? Can you guys see me on Instagram? Forgive me here on Facebook, y'all. I'm trying to see if my Instagram people can see me. You can't see me? Okay. All right. I can't see me, but I'm going to roll with it. All right. So y'all let me know if I'm still, okay. Let me know. All right. So anyway, so when they show up and they're in this place of feeling that they're not being accepted for who they are, again, the intimidation will come in. So we have a lot of things that happens within that, in that lack of acceptance and the intimidation stage, right? They'll shy down. They won't want to speak up. They'll let you as the woman lead, because they believe, right, their BS, their belief system tells them that you know more than them as the wife. You're better than them at doing something. And furthermore, if you don't accept me, then why would I show my real self to you? Right. And part of it goes back to them believing that because it happened before, right, depending on what stage you are in the relationship, because it happened before, then it's a potential that now, even though you say you love me, even though you say that you accept me, I still feel a piece of intimidation, because I don't know that I can trust you. Right. I don't know that I can trust you with my full heart and my whole self, because I'm intimidated by the fact that you're better than me. You're smarter than me, right? You know more than me. That whole concept really goes through. And I'm telling y'all this because I have worked with men like this several times, and this is what they think. This is what goes through the minds of men when they are in marriages and relationships, when they feel like they can't show up as their authentic selves. Now, part of it also goes to the fact that they may be in a space where they don't know. Just as you've grown and you've transitioned, so have they. And so can they really tell you what they like and who they are, and some of the things that they struggle with, without you rejecting them, without you judging them, without you having a lack of respect for them, without you accepting them? right? And so then that turns into having a lack of initiative. They don't know how to take initiative, right? They don't. And so because they think, right, I don't know how to take initiative and really speaking my mind and saying how I feel, the feeling that comes along with that is that there's a disconnection. Okay? I am disconnected from you. I'm disconnected from my wife. I'm disconnected from my significant other. I'm disconnected from my partner because I don't know how to take initiative in really starting up a very difficult conversation to let you know that I'm emotionally detached. I'm emotionally empty. I'm feeling disconnected. I'm struggling with the lack of respect. Because if I do tell you this as a woman, this is a man, right? I'm in the mental spot. I'm afraid to tell you this because, again, you're going to reject me, or you're going to judge me, or you're going to pop off at me, right? Or you're going to shut down on me. And so again, the intimidation comes in, the lack of acceptance come in. Can y'all see the pattern where I'm going with all of this, right? What's in the minds of men? It is so very difficult for them to show up. And this is, let's be clear, these are not excuses. This is rooted in some truth because of the experience that I've had talking with these men and coaching these men and working with these men to really build up their self-confidence and really get them to get to the core of understanding that inside of them is still a little boy, right? Who wants to stand up and who wants to be confident and who wants to say these things. And there are some very things that they simply can't share with you because either they're confused with it in themselves, or again, they're afraid you're going to judge them. They're afraid that you're going to reject them. They're afraid that you won't accept them. And all of these things come in, again, not allowing them to take that place of initiative. And so the disconnection comes in, and now we're not communicating, right? We're not connected. We're not intimate. We're not having that quality time. The energy, I talked about energy a little bit earlier, the energy between us is completely off because of the disconnection. And so when we begin to talk about the emotional disconnection, men will begin to self-medicate. Okay. Let's talk about this. Now, this is again, y'all, and I know sometimes the ladies like, we're always talking about what the men, trying to help get inside the thoughts of the man, right? And so men are taking something away from this too, because they're understanding better of how they're thinking and how they're going through this process. So talking about emotional detachment. When a man or a woman, okay, well, we're in the mental spot. When a man becomes emotionally detached, he will begin to self-medicate, right? Try to heal himself. And self-medicating happens in the form of infidelity, inappropriate social media use, overeating, overspending, just the complete shutdown, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, or overindulging in either one of the twos. And so when that emotional detachment happens and then that self-medication happens, it begins to really, really put them in a place of they don't have anything else. Their back is against the wall. They feel that they can't show up to you because of what? The rejection, the intimidation, the fear of judgment, the lack of respect. And so what eventually happens is, our last one here, is it becomes a lack of trust, right? I no longer trust that you can emotionally satisfy me. I don't trust that you can emotionally understand me. And so the full detachment happens. And this is where I'm talking about the emotional detachment. So if there's a lack of trust and that man is not showing up, the detachment happens. We don't have anything else in common, because see, if I don't trust you and if I don't feel respected by you and I don't feel loved by you, then, and I don't feel accepted by you, and I do feel rejected by you and I do feel judged by you, then I'm completely detached. I don't have a reason to feel as if I'm fighting for anything or that I'm working towards anything, because I'm intimidated by you. And I'm defensive now in everything that I say and how I communicate. And you can see it as the woman, right? You can tell that the energy is off. You can tell that the awareness is not there. You can tell that the communication is not there. You can tell that the action and the appreciation and the validation. I just went through the Man C.A.V.E acronyms backwards. But okay. But you can tell that there's not there. And so now as a woman, I don't know how to get into that man cave. I don't know how to step into that place to really understand you and build back up the connection, because now I'm frustrated. right? Now I'm feeling aggressive in how I want to communicate with you because you shut down on me. Now I'm feeling lonely. Now I'm feeling invisible. Now I'm feeling resentful. And ultimately, I'm unwilling to change. I don't want to change what's happening with me and how I'm feeling because you decide as the man that you want to shut down, right? I see someone out here says hurt. Yes, now I'm hurt, right? I'm having a sense of being independent in this relationship. And hey, why? I don't want to step into the man cave. I don't want to come to where you're feeling. I don't want to communicate. I don't want to be aware. I don't want to validate. I definitely don't have the energy for us to really talk about what's really happening here. And so the shutdown happens, right? He's not showing up. You're not showing up. And now here we are trying to figure out what we're going to do next. You're going through the motion. You are looking at longevity. For those that have been in the marriage or the relationship for some time now, I don't want to leave. I don't know what to do because we've got time vested. There may be children involved. There may be businesses involved. And so what am I to do now? Right? How are we to move forward and what are we to do when all of these things are wrapped up in it? And I'm so emotionally empty and blocked from showing up authentically, okay, as the man and as the woman. I don't know what to do. And so now you have marriages that are just existing, right? You have relationships where one person's coping or tolerating or dealing with. All of those are very draining from an energy perspective and not healthy ways to have a relationship. And so what can you do? I've been through all of these things and really dumped a lot on you, okay? And that's what happens inside the mental spot. But really dumped all of these things on you and really want to give you something to walk away with that could help you as you are moving forward in this. Again, we are talking about the 3 reasons why men are challenged with showing up. And again, this comes from the experience that I've had in working with couples and working with men. And so this is not just based off of me thinking my own thing. This is some real, like, live and living color stuff, right? So what happens when, as a woman, you're tired of trying, right? And trying is not one of my favorite words. I'm going to do one on a list of words that may be helpful for you to delete from your vocabulary. So y'all stay tuned for that. Trying is one of them. For the sake of this conversation, when the woman gets tired of trying and the man feels like she no longer loves him, like she no longer loves me, she no longer respects me, she no longer appreciates me, she no longer, she's just not there. She's unwilling to change and move. And so now both of y'all are stuck in y'all BS. And here's what you can do. Get clear on the difference between what you're fighting about and what you're fighting for. That's number one, because a lot of the times we are fighting about the same things. Just think about the last disagreement or the last argument that you have. Is it resolved, or will it come up again? Okay. I'm going to say it's probably going to come up again because we try to sweep those things under the rug without actually checking our belief system, right? Checking our BS and really getting to the core of what we think and what we believe and how we can elevate that and say, hey, we are not where we want to be. So both people coming to the table. Okay. So this is the next thing, right? Both people coming to the table and saying, this is not where we want to be. I am emotionally detached. I think that you are emotionally detached. So change won't change until you change. And a lot of the times what I tell my couples is you can pray and you can do all of these things and leave it up to God and all of that. It's going to require some work from you. And so here's the formula. You work on you, let him or her, whoever your opposites are, work on them, and then let God work on it. So until you are able to look yourself in the mirror and know that you are showing up authentically and you are very clear in how you are having conversation and how you are, again, communicating, connecting, and behaving, because those are the 3 things that relationships are built on. When you are very clear on that and you're saying, hey, I know for certain that I am showing up authentically and I am being respectful and I am being in a place of love and appreciation. I want to make this work. And it really, really requires you to put part of who you think you are and who you thought you were aside to say it's time for us to have a very difficult conversation. Okay. So that's that's where I want to leave you with, because I've left a lot in here, and I want to make sure everything is happening good on my Facebook side, because I've really been doing more talk to my Instagram people. Hey y'all, how y'all doing? So let me see what's happening here. I see Black Beauty says great advice because you get what you give. Absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes we don't consider that, and it's tough, especially when you feel like you've been giving and you've been giving. You really get to a point where you say, hey, I have to be clear on what I want and what the end game is. And yeah, it's worth doing something different for. Again, when you change, the relationship change. When you elevate, then they will have to connect with you differently. Okay. And so gotta think differently about this thing. Again, I'm seeing some people over here on Instagram. Instagram is popping, y'all. How y'all doing? Thanks, Keisha. She says this helps so much. And hey there. Oh, I need to connect with you. It's a mind game. I need to connect with you and see if we can get you here on the mental spot, because we have some great conversation to talk about too. All right, y'all. Y'all know I get distracted real easily. I actually had someone that asked me to come on screen, and we're going to talk about that. I think that's my cousin. Yeah, let's talk about that, because I'm going to get you on screen next time. I am running over into my 45 minutes here. Thank y'all so much for watching this. Again, wanted to bring you something, because every week I'm here inside the mental spot, and typically I have a guest. This week we had we had to make some adjustments, and it's okay. He will be back. We'll have some good topics for you coming up. Let's see. I'm just reading some more comments here. So how can you find out more about this whole check your BS thing? I have created a free video and a free worksheet for you. If you go to checkyourbs.com, I will really explain to you what it means. Okay. If you all have been following the movement and if you really understand what it means to check your BS, really need for you to go and check this information out. I will lay it out to you, and I will give you some very simple steps that you can begin to follow to, again, challenge what you think, check what you believe, and then choose how you want to show up in your relationships. It's for men and women alike. It works for your personal and your professional relationships. Erica Raspberry, thank you so much. She just showed up on Facebook. She says, this is good stuff. I really, really appreciate that. Here's my dear friend again, Instagram. I am reading my comments on Facebook. Pastor Dre says good stuff. A lot can be said about being in the man cave. Yes, it can. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you want to connect with me and find out more about my services, again, from whether it be for coaching or whether it be for speaking, I would love, love, love the opportunity to have more conversation with you. You can email me at coach@coachshaquan.com, and we will link you to my calendar so we can schedule time to talk. So I, again, appreciate you guys for showing up in the mental spot, where men talk about life, love, and leaving the toilet seat up. I was solo dolo, and hope that we were able to sprinkle some gems on you. I just got conversation from someone on Facebook. Yes, it is being recorded, so you'll be able to go back and watch this. If you don't catch it here on Facebook Live, it is on Instagram. It will only be available, I think they do maybe 24 hours or something like that. And all of the past episodes of The Mental Spot you can find on YouTube. So go to YouTube, you can search Coach Shaquan and go to my channel, or hashtag The Mental Spot, and you can watch all of the past episodes. We've had some really, really awesome guests on, and looking forward to so many more. So thank y'all again so much for joining me. I am Coach Shaquan, certified relationship coach, transformational speaker, and creator of the Check Your BS movement. All right. Have a good evening, everyone. Again, thanks for joining, and I will talk to y'all later. All right. Yay. Peace. See y'all later.